16 games so hard that even blinking becomes a tactical risk. No spoilers, enjoy the video. The Nioh series is Team Ninja's answer to Dark Souls, but with a faster pace and even steeper difficulty spikes, if you can believe it. Unlike other Souls-like titles, Nioh adds complexity with a deep combat system built around stances high, mid, and low each, with its own speed and power balance. You'll need to master all three because enemies will punish even slight missteps. Then there's the loot. Nioh showers you with gear, but optimizing it is overwhelming. Between stats, elemental effects, and passive bonuses, building your character is a mental challenge as well as a physical one. Nioh 2 raises the stakes by giving you yokai powers, but don't get too comfortable. The game counters with more aggressive enemies and punishing difficulty. What makes Nioh truly tear-inducing is that its challenge never lets up. Even side missions can crush seasoned players. But once you master it, there's a flow to the combat that feels like slicing through a storm with surgical grace. That is, if you survive long enough to find it.
My faith is unbreakable. No matter the questions that assail me, nor the doubts that haunt me.
Blasphemous series. Blasphemous is punishing in every sense of the word. The game throws you into a side-scrolling nightmare, where every corner hides death. As the penitent one, you're armed with a sword and a brutal sense of guilt, and you'll need both to survive. Every enemy is a twisted embodiment of suffering. Boss fights are cruel rituals, with grotesque designs that unsettle as much as they challenge. The sequel, Blasphemous the Sekiro, doubled down on complexity, adding more weapon variety and movement mechanics, but also increasing the difficulty. You're expected to master parries, dodge timings, and attacks from all angles. This isn't a game for the faint of heart. It demands persistence, reflexes, and a strong stomach for brutal imagery. But those who survive its trials often say the suffering was worth it. Don't be fooled by Cuphead's charming 1930s cartoon aesthetic. This game is pure, distilled pain in animated form. Beneath the whimsical jazz soundtrack and beautifully hand-drawn visuals lies one of the most punishing run-and-gun boss rush experiences ever created. The game is structured around relentless boss fights that demand pixel-perfect reflexes. There's no room for error. You'll find yourself repeating the same boss dozens of times. Even the easier levels, like the platforming run-and-gun stages, offer little relief. Enemies spawn unpredictably, and the margin for mistakes is razor-thin. And don't think bringing a friend makes it easier. In co-op mode, the screen becomes even more hectic, turning coordination into chaos. This next game, some people find it hard, and some think it's easy. But for me it was hard, so I figured it deserves to be on this list. First, Berserker Khazan is a rage-fueled descent into hardcore action RPG hell, and it doesn't care how strong you think you are. From the opening moments, Khazan demands mastery of its punishing combat system. The game throws enemies at you in relentless waves, each more aggressive and deadly than the last. Timing is everything. You need to dodge, parry, cancel attacks, and maintain your rage meter while managing stamina and cooldowns. And then there's the bosses, huge, grotesque, and absolutely relentless. They'll force you to learn attack patterns, counter timings, and positioning down to the pixel. Khazan is not for the average action fan. It's a game designed for players who crave suffering and wear each hard-earned victory like a badge of honor.
Have mercy. Have mercy upon us.
Bloodborne, the game that made people fall in love with Souls like games. Set in the nightmarish city of Yharnam, this game is a relentless test of reflexes, nerve, and endurance. Every cobbled street hides danger. Every corner is a trap. And the atmosphere alone is enough to keep players in a state of constant dread. You don't block in Bloodborne, you dodge. You counter. You strike back faster than the enemy can finish their attack. Bosses are towering monstrosities designed not just to challenge your skills, but to overwhelm you emotionally. You will die, repeatedly. But each death teaches you something new. A pattern, a weakness, a moment to strike. And slowly, painfully, you start to adapt. What makes Bloodborne so brutal isn't just its difficulty. It's the lack of guidance. The story is hidden in cryptic item descriptions and obscure lore. Sifu introduced something different, a unique aging mechanic. Every time you die, your character gets older, becoming more powerful in strikes, but weaker in resilience. This simple idea adds massive tension to every encounter. Every hit matters. Every mistake brings you closer to the end, not just of the level, but of your entire run. The first level may seem manageable, but by the second or third, the game demands near perfection. You'll lose often. You'll restart again and again. But with every run, you get sharper. By the time you reach the final boss with only a few years left, every move feels like it could be your last. Black Myth Wukong. At first glance, Wukong stuns with its breathtaking visuals. Powered by Unreal Engine 5, every frame is dense with atmosphere-thick forests, crumbling temples, and storm-lashed cliffs come alive with cinematic weight. But beneath this beauty lies a punishing combat system that draws clear influence from Soulsborne titles. Enemies strike fast and often. Boss fights are multi-phase duels, where victory demands more than reflexes. It requires complete understanding. What sets Wukong apart is its versatility. The protagonist can transform into various mythical beasts, each with their own combat mechanics. These transformations aren't gimmicks. They're essential tools in battles that are as much puzzles as they are endurance tests. In a sea of Souls-like imitators, Lies of P manages something rare. It stands on its own. Inspired by the tale of Pinocchio, this dark reinterpretation transports players into a nightmarish Belle Epoque city ruled by madness, steel, and lies. It's grim, it's beautiful, and it's absolutely merciless. The game's combat is where Lies of P truly shines. Fast, responsive, and heavily focused on perfect timing. It borrows from Bloodborne in pace, but adds its own flair with a modular weapon system. Players can mix and match blades and handles to suit their style. And while the options are varied, none of them offer easy wins. Every enemy is dangerous. Every boss demands absolute focus. Even the most seasoned Souls veterans will find themselves on the back foot more often than they expect. The game doesn't just ask you to learn, it demands you evolve. Then there's the game's unique lie system, where the moral choices you make subtly influence not just the ending, but your path through the world. Lords of the Fallen. Borrowing huge parts from Dark Souls while carving out its own punishing identity, the game pulls no punches in its opening hours, or the dozens that follow. Its dual realm mechanic, allowing players to shift between Axiom, the land of the living, and Umbral, the realm of the dead, adds both atmospheric depth and mind-warping difficulty. Die in Axiom and you resurrect in Umbral, but you're now in a harsher dimension teeming with relentless enemies and twisted designs meant to unnerve and overwhelm. The game demands an almost academic study of its bosses. These hulking nightmares often feature multiple phases, and a single mistimed dodge or greedy strike can spell instant doom. Yet it's not just the combat that breaks spirits. Save points, vestiges, are cruelly spaced out, and death means losing your vigor XP unless you claw your way back to reclaim it. Even seasoned Souls-like veterans will find themselves humbled by the game's relentless pacing and layered mechanics. Team Cherry's Hollow Knight is deceptively adorable, until it starts carving your soul into little bug-shaped pieces. This Metroidvania masterpiece is infamous for its cryptic storytelling, cavernous world, and enemies that seem tailor-made to punish curiosity. Its difficulty spikes come in waves. The Mantis Lords, the Watcher Knights, and, if you dare, the Radiance or Nightmare King Grim. Each fight feels like a surgical examination of your reaction time and resolve, but even getting to them is an ordeal. Hidden pathways, unmarked map areas, and scarce fast travel points mean backtracking becomes its own mental gauntlet. Hollow Knight gives you very little direction, forcing players to piece together its world and rules on their own. The Surge doesn't just punish mistakes, it makes you regret every single misstep. Developed by Deck 13, this sci-fi Souls-like swaps medieval castles for dystopian factories, trading dragons for malfunctioning exosuit nightmares. It's grimy, industrial, and soaked in an atmosphere of impending doom. Combat demands brutal efficiency. You're not just hacking at enemies. You're targeting limbs to earn gear, which sounds clever until you realize it's a system designed to drag you into longer, riskier fights. Parrying is essential, but timing varies by weapon and enemy type, forcing you to adapt constantly. There's no hand-holding, no pause button, and definitely no mercy. Even basic enemies hit like trucks, and bosses are designed to tear players apart. Ninja Gaiden 2 doesn't want you to play it. It wants you to survive it. Team Ninja's hyper-violent action game from the Xbox 360 era is a masterclass in mechanical savagery, where lightning-fast reflexes aren't just recommended, they're required. Ryu Hayabusa isn't just a ninja, he's a demon-slaying, limb-severing whirlwind. And still the game manages to make him feel vulnerable in nearly every encounter. Forget modern handholding. This game is a relentless storm of enemies, many of whom attack with such ferocity that even blinking becomes a tactical risk. Archers off-screen, dead. Ambushed by rocket-wielding ninjas mid-combo, game over. Each level is an exercise in controlled chaos, and while Ryu has an arsenal of devastating weapons, the learning curve for mastering them is steep and lined with blood. From Software's Dark Souls series is the modern benchmark for soul-crushing difficulty and uncompromising game design. It doesn't just test your reflexes, it tests your patience, curiosity, and mental resilience. The series is notorious for its cryptic mechanics and storytelling. Want to know what a stat does? Hope you enjoy reading vague item descriptions. Need direction? Too bad. Exploration is entirely unguided, and one wrong turn could land you face to face with a dragon, a giant skeleton, or worse. Each boss with unique movesets, often with multiple phases, and almost always built to punish panic and greed. With Elden Ring, From Software took the soul of Dark Souls, stuffed it into a vast, open world, and then dialed up the suffering. Don't let the freedom of the lands between fool you. This game is a gauntlet of misery disguised as beauty. From the moment you step into Limgrave, you're free to go anywhere, including directly into a beatdown from bosses like Tree Sentinel or Margit, the Fell Omen, long before you're ready. Every inch of Elden Ring feels handcrafted to lure you into danger. Hidden dungeons, sudden ambushes, and grotesque, multi-phase bosses lie in wait around every corner. The freedom to explore is liberating until it's not. Because no matter where you go, something tougher is waiting to break you. And yet Elden Ring's pain is oddly poetic. The soundtrack swells as you fall for the 100th time to Millennia's Waterfowl Dance. You curse, reload, and try again. If Dark Souls is a slow, methodical grind through darkness, Sekiro, Shadows Die, twice as a blade dance on the edge of a knife, faster, sharper, and far less forgiving. From Software throughout the RPG systems and multiplayer safety nets of its previous titles, and handed players a katana with one simple rule: learn to parry or die trying. There's no gear farming, no summoning help. It's just you, your sword, and a relentless barrage of enemies determined to break your spirit. The combat is the heart of Sekiro, and it's designed to punish hesitation. Deflecting enemy attacks isn't just useful, it's mandatory. The posture system forces you to stand your ground and engage in tight, rhythmic duels, where every mistimed block or greedy slash gets punished mercilessly. Bosses like Genichiro, the Guardian Ape, and Ishin the Sword Saint are multi-phase gauntlets that demand hours of practice and a monk-like level of focus. But it's not just the swordplay that will bring you to tears. It's the sheer refusal of the game to let you win easily. Stealth mechanics give false hope, but one mistake and you're back in the thick of a brutally fast fight. And while death is expected, Sekiro makes it sting more with Dragonrata mechanic where NPCs suffer from your repeated failures. The game weaponizes guilt. There are no shortcuts in Sekiro, no grinding for better gear, just mastery.